Hey, this is Chris Crawford, the Chris Crawford Knives, and I want to talk a little bit about head spinners. Now, I've been making head spinners for spinning pins and slip joints or even fixed blades, I guess, for, I don't know, 4 to 6 years, and I don't know how many kits I've made and sold over the years. Well, someone reached out to me not too long ago about his 3/32 inch spinners, about them not cutting and not spinning well. Now, if you're not familiar with the spinner kit, I'm not going to tell you about all the parts, but basically you've got a block that goes in the bottom and you've got a rod that's cupped, that's your bottom piece, and you've got a rod that's cupped, that's your top piece, but your top piece has a slot in it, a little slit in it, that allows it to not only while it's spinning the pin, but also to cut. So I asked him to send me a picture and kind of describe what was going on, and the way he described it was that it was kind of all smeared in there. Like you couldn't see where the cuts were. It's lost all of its definition. Well, the first thing I thought was probably clogged, because these things can get clogged. They can get clogged if you're cutting a soft material like maybe nickel silver or maybe a softer stainless or something like that. And when you're using these, you want to run them slow and you want to use some oil or some grease or some type of lubricant like that. And then every so often, you know, when you're cutting, you might want to take a little pick and just make sure that it's not getting clogged up. So my suspicion is that it was clogged up. Now, he was from overseas, but he had a friend who was coming to the Texas Blade Show, and so he sent his spinners with his friend to mail to me once his friend got into the U.S. Now, I just received those, and that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at these, and we're going to see if they're clogged up and how we can fix them. And if that is the case, I wanted to put this video together so that if other people's head spinners clogged up, they would know, they could use this video for a resource to know how to repair them or to fix them. Now, if it's not clogged up, then it could be some kind of manufacturing issue on my part where when I made them, maybe I didn't get them properly heat treated or something like that. Now, one thing that came to my mind though is I didn't think that they were probably, like I didn't think that they were messed up, so to speak. Like I didn't think that spinning a pin would actually mess the cutter itself up, because these are made from 01 drill rod and they're hardened and then they're tempered kind of a halfway between a blade temper and a spring temper. So they're not going to be so brittle that they're going to break, but they're going to be hard enough that they shouldn't, you know, malform. And with them having that spring temper, they shouldn't chip out either. So it should be a good kind of hybrid temper to make these things last a long time. That's my intention anyway. Now, I know that these things can clog up if you're doing soft handle material, not handle material, but if you're doing soft pin material, like if you're doing nickel silver, maybe brass, maybe some of the softer stainlesses, that can cause them to clog up. And I do have a suspicion that that's what's going on here. Now, what's interesting about this is I had not heard about this from anybody over these years. However, while I was waiting for his to come in, someone else reached out to me with the same problem, and they said that, you know, that they were having problems and it wasn't cutting. And I thought, well, no, that's interesting, you know, with these two kind of somewhat close together, with, you know, 2 or 3 months apart. And so I asked him to send it to me, and then he told me he was spinning nickel silver with his. So I thought, yeah, it's probably clogged up. So he sent it to me. I looked at it under a little digital microscope. I said, yeah, that's probably clogged up. Let me clean it out. And I was able to clean it out, and then when I cleaned it out, there was another hole in it, a little bit deeper. And here, I'll show you a picture of it. I took some pictures. So this is a picture of his after I cleaned it out, and you can see this hole down in the bottom. And so I reached out to him and I said, did you drill that or something like that? Like, I don't know why that hole would be at the bottom. And he actually said that he had used a carbide, I guess a little carbide drill, because he suspected it was clogged up as well, to try to drill in and clean it out. And it just happened, he drilled in a little bit too far, and so that accounts for the bottom. Now, that picture is what his looked like after I cleaned it out. Because I did ask him, I really wanted him to send it to me, and so I could see it and figure out if that is what was going on. So he sent it to me, and that was it. Now, I'm going to put another picture. Here's a picture of what one looks like that's clean. And so this is one that I've used on my knife several times. It's not a brand new one. Like I said, I've used it several times on my lever action autos. Now these pictures are at 35 magnification with my Galaxy, I think I got like a S23 or 24 camera. All right, well, while we're looking at pictures, let's go ahead and take a look at the one that was sent to me. So here's that picture. And so zoomed in at 30 times, it's really looking to me just like it's clogged up, because you can see, maybe you can see these little pits, and that's where it's not clogged. And so what I'm going to try to do on this video is basically just determine if that's it and to unclog it. All right, so I'm going to take my video camera now and we're going to go over there and zoom in as close as we can, and we're just going to see if we can get this spinner cleaned up. Hopefully you can see this pretty well. I've got my optivisors on and I'm looking through this. My optivisors give me a 2x magnification, and I can see here where this is all smeared in here. Now right here is my cutter on the side, and I've just got a little needle, and I'm just going to go in there, just seeing if I can work some of this stuff out from the side. It is packed in there pretty tight, so I'm not making a lot of progress from that side. Let me spin it and see if I can get in from this side. So you can tell it's clogged because from this side I can barely even see where that little cutout is. Probably going to have to get me something that I can put in behind this needle and give me a little pressure. I can't really just push it in with my hand, so let me grab something. I've got a little block of wood now that I can press this needle from behind. And I'm going to start a little higher, just see if we can poke through this stuff. Tell you what, it's in there pretty tight. A little of it's starting to come off. Now it's my understanding that this is stainless, and that could be why it's so hard to get out, where that nickel silver came out a lot easier. So I don't know if you can tell, but I am making a little headway on the side over here. I got something else I'm going to try. I spun it back around, and this is just a little bitty jeweler's file. And so this is what I cut my slot in there with to start with. So I've spun this around so that I can see where my slot is, and I'm just going to go in there with this jeweler's file and just kind of file through there and see if I can break a little of it up like that. Now this jeweler's file is not going to file where it's hardened, but you can see there that it is starting to cut through there. So let me go back to my needle. And I'll tell you what, this is in there really, really tight. I'm just going to keep chipping away at it off camera and just keep working on it. I may apply a little bit of heat to it, see if that makes a difference. And we'll pick back up here in just a few minutes. Well, I kept saying jeweler's file, but I meant jeweler's saw. But I had another idea, and so this time I thought, well, I took my jeweler's saw and I sawed a little bit deeper into there. And I thought, well, maybe I can take this little screwdriver and get right in there and spin it. If I can get in there deep enough. That's not working either. Oh, you can see, look, you can see some of it coming off right there. See that? All right, well, I solved it. I wish I had had the camera going because I ended up using this little pick here, and I'm going to show you what I did. The center piece that was stuck in there ended up shooting out. Luckily, it landed on a little towel that I had on my bench, or I would have never found that thing, and I placed it back in there to show you. But basically, I just put my pick in here like this, and started tapping it with a hammer. And you can see here that when it turned loose, it shot out, and this whole, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but that whole little piece shot out, and that's what was jammed up down in there. And now you can see how clean it is in the top of that pin. So that's definitely what it was. Looking back at my emails, he was doing a stainless pin, and so that may be the stainless, maybe why it was so hard to get out opposed to the nickel silver. I don't know if you can see it from this angle. I'll take another picture with it with my phone. Let me go ahead and do that. All right, so here's a picture of it from the phone, zoomed in at 30, and hopefully you can see how clean the spinner still is on the inside, and even the little cutouts from the side, how clean those are. And so this thing's ready to be returned. It was a little bit of a pain getting that out, but I think in the future I would probably start with the pick and just kind of try to get it on there at an angle, and then just start tapping it with a hammer. Because this is concave like this, the piece should just eventually turn loose and shoot out just like it did when I was doing it. All right, well that's it. If you've purchased pin spinners from me in the past, I really appreciate it, and I hope they don't give you any trouble. If they do give you some trouble, chances are they're clogged up, and maybe some of the things that I did in this video will help you get them unclogged. And if you do run into trouble, just holler at me, and we'll be able to talk through maybe what it is. Thanks.